Dr. Today we are joined by the wonderful Dr. Paul Zach. Paul, how are you doing today?
I am great, Soleil. So nice to see you.
Yes, wonderful to see you too. Thank you for joining us on this exclusive episode of the Sweat Strategy and Success podcast. This gets placed into a newsletter where we provide actionable tips from CEOs, health and wellness experts, marketers, athletes, and creatives so listeners can live their best lives both personally and professionally. We really like this episode to be quick, so I'm going to dive right in. Does that sound good to you?
Perfecto.
Awesome. Let me provide a quick introduction to who you are. So, Dr. Paul Zach is a pioneering neuroscientist, author, and entrepreneur who has spent over 2 decades uncovering how the brain drives trust, happiness, and human connection. Known for discovering oxytocin's role in empathy and morality, Paul has applied neuroscience to everything from startups to storytelling and to leadership and love. He has even been called Dr. Love. His latest work with Immersion and the Six app shows how tracking high value emotional moments can help us thrive, turning brain science into a daily blueprint for a happier life. Well, your research shows you need just 6 high value moments a day to emotionally thrive. What are those 6 high value moments?
So I'm going to correct the question a little bit. Just six. Six is hard. Six is a challenge. It's like walking 10,000 steps, but for your emotional fitness rather than your physical fitness. Those high value moments differ by each individual. So the free app, Six, that we developed, links to your calendar and your location and will show you the most valuable experiences you're having unconsciously, emotionally, that you're not aware of, that you can lean into to be happier and therefore more successful.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And what's a practical way to design your day in order to naturally trigger some of these high value moments without needing to, meditate or journal? I know those are often like the most, like this most centered around things that you can do through your day. But I know there's so many other things that you could do. So how could you design your day to make sure you're living these high value moments?
Right. So humans anatomically are hypersocial creatures. We like to be around even strangers, which is very unusual for most animals. And so this social emotional evaluation mechanism, which I've named immersion because it's a combination of neuroelectrical signals, is triggered by anything that's valuable to you. So how to hack the system? Social. Being around people you like, doing things that you like doing are the most important things. So I could hike up a mountain and watch the sunrise tomorrow morning, Soleil. If you and I did it together, more valuable. Because we're talking, we're having fun. We're like, oh, I tripped. It's so funny, right? So adding that social component is really important. And I feel like the app is like your sweet little grandma reminding you, like, hey, dummy, remember the humans. You can't sit at home working all day in your stretchy pants. You got to go out, interact with others. So here's a real easy tip, something I'd love to do. Say hi to people in the elevators. We're in a box together for 20 or 30 seconds. Just say hello. Hi, how are you? Where are you coming in from? Like I travel lots. I'm in hotels. And so, hey, we got a funny accent. What country are you from? Whatever that is. So just reaching out and creating that warm space for people to connect to you is a really effective way to not only have these high value moments, but to help your brain adapt to being a better social human.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so funny because growing up, my mom was always very social. She was the kind of person where we would stand in line at the grocery store and she would just start talking to the person in front of her. That's how she still is to
And,
this
and you were,
day.
as a child, were like this, Mom, please
Yeah.
don't. That's what my
And
children
when I was a
do.
teenager, I was like, why are you talking to all
Right.
these strangers,
Right.
But now that's kind of how I live my life too. I'm definitely an extrovert and I love getting to know other people. And so it's great to hear, that my mom has taught me how to live some high value moments. Is that something that as people, do you think we're teaching our kids how to do that nowadays, or do you think we're leaning away from that?
That's a great point. So I'm an introvert, so I have to work a little harder. I have to make an effort because it's not natural to me like it is to you. But the more you do it, the easier it gets. The brain is so adaptive. Yeah, I'm really concerned about kids who are just on these things all day, right? Just like, so think about during COVID lockdown times how those social skills depreciated. So because the brain is so energy has such a high energy overhead. It just burns so much energy. If you're not doing something, it just degrades. This is like the French I took in college. I don't speak any French anymore. I can barely read French or German, which I took in high school. If you plot me in Germany for a couple of months, I'm going to pick it up. I can kind of bring it back, right? So same thing with social behaviors. You've got to actually focus on it, and I think that's where the app or having a piece of technology says, "Hey, remember." So we built in an AI assistant that after a week takes your key moments, your calendar, and your location, starts giving you advice. Hey, whenever you hike with Soleil, those are key moments. You should do that more often. What about calling Soleil this week for a hike? Or whenever you see Bob, those meetings always suck. You might want to avoid Bob because clearly Bob's a gross guy and you don't want to hang out with him. So just being able to have this insight into your unconscious emotional states lets you curate your life for greater happiness. But having a guide to do that, like your mom, A plus, definitely. Mom's brilliant.
Yeah, seriously. I'm gonna have my younger brothers get the Six app for their watches as well. That way, when they're hanging out with me, it will be like, you hanging out with your sister is a high value moment and you should hang out with her more.
More than that, if two people are using it together, you can see how in sync you are neurologically. It has these two circles, and the more they overlap, the more in sync you are. Like, we really like each other. So we had a acting teacher
That's
who used
almost
our
a good
app.
thing or a bad thing.
Well, it could be. We had an acting teacher who's using our app to help young actors really understand their emotional states by measuring the audience. Like, are you really connecting to the audience? Anyway, he used it at a play they produced in which people had their apps and they had a question that had monitors and like, do you like a beach vacation or not? And then people would come up and look at their data together. And some of it was couples like, honey, we always go to the beach. No, I hate the beach. I never wanted to tell you. And so you can see because the data were really different. So yeah, having insight into your own unconscious states is pretty cool. Like, we kind of want to know, like, what the hell is my brain doing?
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Is there any way that people can tell these moments without using something like the Six app, or is it something that you have just discovered with the work that you've done with oxytocin?
Yeah. Again, you put that word just in there, which I don't like. 20 hard years of labor in the lab, never seeing the light of day, Soleil. Um, yeah. So in neuroscience, there's a difference between feelings, which is our conscious appraisal of our emotional states, and our true emotional physiologic response. And have very low relationship to each other. So what people think are a high value moment consciously often is not. And the app often surprises people. So I was talking to another podcaster this morning. Sorry, I'm not exclusive with you, and from the UK. And he said I started using the Six app, and I wasn't getting any high value moments the first day. I thought, this thing kind of sucks. And then he said my 1 year old boy jumped in my lap, and I was hugging him and kissing him. And then I heard my phone buzz, and I got a high value moment. Well, sure, if you're just going through your day, it may not be valuable. So these high value moments are hard to get because they're really valuable to that organism. And people who are successful have more of these high value moments because they're engaging with others and they have goals. So here's a real interesting tip. People in general get more high value moments at work than at leisure. Why would that be? Well, leisure, if I'm sitting around watching a game with my friends, having a beer, whatever, it's fine, it's fun, it is social, but it's not so goal oriented. Where at work, I have people that depend on me. I got something I got to do. So again, this is a metabolic investment in an activity or a person that's really valuable to you. So our brain needs these challenges to grow and thrive and develop. And that's the other takeaway is that what used to be a high value moment for you 6 months ago may not be now. So think of, I don't know, zip lining through the rainforest in Costa Rica. The first time you do that, crazy fun. And the fifth time, probably really great. Now, if you work there and you've done it 50 times, it's not interesting anymore to you. So to really thrive, we have to begin to expand the interactions we have with others in the environment. I've got to meet new people. I've got to do new things. I've got to be out there stretching myself to help my brain develop. By the way, punchline, people who are thriving, physiologically thriving, live longer, live happier, and live healthier. So how do I do that? Number one, invest in relationships, as you said from your first question. I want to really invest in those valuable relationships to me. And relationships can continue to get better and better. Think of your dear friends. I'm old enough that I have guy friends that I tell them I love them because it's not weird when you're old, right? I had a friend who got married recently, and I made a toast. His name was Sean. Sean, I love you. You're one of the best humans I've ever met. I'd do anything for you, and I'm so happy to be at your wedding. What's better than that? And he is an amazing human, and he's such a good friend to me. That's an
Yeah,
investment.
that's wonderful. Yeah, and it almost sounds like it, leading into my last question for you, it sounds like there's kind of a myth around happiness or well-being that a lot of people have, that it should be something that exists within your everyday life, that it should just be something you are exuding every day. But is there a myth about happiness or well-being that your research has debunked through your 20 years?
Very nice. Yeah. So people who are thriving have more of these acute happy moments. We call them key moments in the 6 app per day. So you are having more experiences of happiness. One of the real things we've debunked is that people actually know what makes them happy, right? So you cannot be euphoric all day because the brain works on contrast. So that euphoria approach, we've tested that experience many, many times. It's called cocaine or methamphetamine. And we know how that story ends, right? It doesn't end well. So you can flood your brain with these chemicals that give us joy, but when you do it naturally, you train yourself to be a more connected human, a more emotionally open human. So let's not take the shortcut. Let's actually just invest in those things, those experiences, and those people that are most valuable to us. So, can I give you one concrete example?
Please.
I'm obsessed with gorillas. I want to be a gorilla. I wish I were a gorilla. So for 10 years, I've been saying, I want to go see the mountain gorillas in Africa. And this year I decided to do it. That's going to be a crazy experience. Going with a dear friend, it's a week out in the jungle somewhere, I don't know, Uganda. It's going to be wild. Now, why would I do that? My daughter, who's 22, said, what if those gorillas hurt you? I'm like, oh my gosh, I have the best story for my entire life. Can you imagine that gorilla hits me and breaks my ribs? Like, oh, I won't die. It won't kill me. Gorillas don't kill humans. I have the best story ever, right? So that
True.
adds richness to my life, deepens my relationship with my friend who's going with me. It's going to be such a valuable life experience. Will it be a pain in the ass to fly 30 hours to get to Uganda? Yeah, absolutely. It's a pain in the ass. Will the food be weird? For sure. Will my stomach be upset? Maybe. Probably. Yeah, I don't know. Will it be a crazy adventure? Will it make my life richer? Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And to kind of end off this, this wonderful exclusive episode with you, it sounds like, and something that I think we hear very often, but not something that we have the concrete, like science behind, at least for the everyday person, is that doing hard things are good for you. If you go out and you do hard things, then you're going to be rewarded. Does that sound accurate to the science that you've
Perfect.
done?
So if hard things were not important, why would we ever exercise? That's physiologically stressful. We exercise because it improves our cardiovascular tone, our musculature. It's the same way that building up emotional fitness builds up our ability to be better humans, to be more open, to be to kinder to others, to be grateful. If I just stay at home and play video games all day or watch Netflix, I'm not growing. I'm not thriving. Again, a little of that, fine. Sure, we all do that. It's okay. But 10 hours a day, no, not so good.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Paul, for this incredible exclusive episode with you. I know people are going to walk away with wonderful insights on this. If you have not subscribed to the Sweat Strategy and Success newsletter yet, this is your opportunity to do so. And thank you again. We're about to jump into the full episode and learn more about how Dr. Paul Zak has become the oxytocin guy and the doctor of love. So don't miss that on your favorite podcast platform as well. Thank you, Dr. Paul Zak.